Recording in progress.
Hello. So today's video is going to be about how it has been for me working with self-limiting belief flower essences. I've been currently taking the Self-Aid Flower Essence blend from the company Common Good, which is a blend of about 8 essences, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 essences. And then I've also been taking it every now and then with the Banana Take Action essence or Pine Self-Respect essence. So when working with blends, it's kind of hard to tell which flower essence is exactly doing what. These blends are made more so with an intention, i.e. self-aid. The self-sabotage anti-venom supports limiting belief work. So I started taking self-aid. I'm still taking it. I'm not finished with it. About, let's see, we're in March. So I probably started taking it in January. And I've been taking it on my off days from work because when you're taking a blend of flower essences, you might get a little bit emotional or emotionally overwhelmed, and it's not the best for that to happen at work. So I do it on my off days, and usually on my off days I take it 2 to 3 times, and sometimes I try to take a bath and mix it in my bath as well. So when you're taking it this way, the bottle is normally supposed to last you a month if you take it proper dosage, which is 3 times a day, every day. So this is lasting me about probably 2 to 2.5 months, which is fine. It's okay. I need to go at a pace that's good for me. So with the self-aid and the limiting belief work, I started taking it because I had signed up for this program. Sorry, you might hear cats hissing. We also got a new cat, so there's Tumbles and Jazz fighting in the background. Um, but anyways, I started taking it because I had signed up for this resonance reprogramming or resonance repatterning program, which resonance repatterning is a modality that is an energy work modality that is used to help you turn off old patterns and turn on new patterns. And I had signed up for a 6-month program, which has allowed me to go very, very deep on my self-limiting beliefs. And this flower essence has helped me go deep into those patterns and has helped me integrate and really embody the work that I am doing. And I've also been using the self-aid flower essence to assist me in my past life healing work that I have started doing as well, which that kind of came up with like the limiting belief work that I've been doing for resonance repatterning. So this video is going to be a little all over the board with where the essence has been helping me, because it's been helping me in quite a variety of places in my life. So I took a few little notes. Let's see. So for me, taking this has really brought up that pattern that I talked about in another video, which was the theme of going backwards to move forwards, which I had brought that up, and I'll link it in the video below or in the description box below. I had brought that up when I had gone back into the food industry back in October, and how that was going to be the theme for fall. However, for me, I'm not sure about others, but for me, the theme of going backwards to move forward has continued and actually expanded. And I think that theme has really came up with the Venus retrograde energies that just came to a close. We had the post shadow end, I think it was today or yesterday. So Venus retrograde, all in all, is about a 3-month time span of really deep Venus energies, which were about love and money, and which that's general, but love and money, you know your life, you know what happened in the last 3 months for you, you know. So anyways, with the going back to go forward, I recently left my job at the brewery, and I realized that the universe had kind of been trying to push me to do that for a while, because during the last Mercury retrograde that ended, or the last Mercury retrograde of 2021, and then during the first Mercury retrograde of 2022, I had the same pattern come up twice, which was my boss at the brewery that I worked at. She was like nitpicking me and bullying me like really hardcore, especially during that second Mercury retrograde, which was actually going on during the Venus retrograde. So Venus, money, employment, and then Mercury, communication and employment issues. And my boss had like just really escalated, and I think the universe had that escalate to help push me out of my comfort zone and push me into the next backward to move forward movement in my life. And so my boss had been critiquing me and nitpicking me all over the board and holding me to really high unfair standards that she wasn't holding other people to. And she had also had the nerve when she was chewing me out to like poke me in my arm, which I was like, this isn't cool. And then she just like really lacked compassion when my childhood dog passed away. And she like questioned my integrity, like, oh, you don't have a dog, you have cats. And I'm just like, like not cool. And it's not the first time she's kind of questioned my integrity or people's integrity in general. That's kind of a pattern of her own that she has. However, all of that stuff went on for about 2 weeks, and it just got to the point where I like couldn't really handle it anymore, and it was stressing me out really bad, and I was clenching and grinding my teeth more than usual, which if you've been following me, I've had some dental issues going on since October that I've been slowly navigating and working through. So anyways, I went ahead and gave her my notice, which was really terrifying for me to do because I had made such a huge commitment to the resonance repatterning program. And I mean, I was making good money at this job, but it's just like money can come up in other places, and money will always match you, and you're never given more than what you can handle in bills. So I have been working to embody the lessons that money has been teaching me these last few months with the Venus energies, and I just made the leap and gave my notice. And then during that time frame, I had reached out to my old employers at the halfway house that I used to work at, and thankfully they were really excited to take me back. And it was really cool because even though my boss and I had had a few like harsh parting words in the past, it was a work relationship founded on respect. And so he was really excited because he's like, oh, I know exactly like what you can do for this place. And like he remembered my work ethic and my strong traits with work, which my old boss at the brewery, like she like didn't recognize anything that I did for her at all. So it was really nice to be recognized in that way. And so I accepted the job to go back, and I am leaning into surrender and trust with the universe as I navigate these changes and transitions. And I've felt like I was being crushed and demolished from the outside and the inside, which they say when you're feeling such like crushing pressure and stuff like that, it's usually a sign of deep transformation and shifts and integration that are going on. So, I mean, I'm cool with that, and I don't think I would be as cool with that if I hadn't been taking these flower essences, because I mean, to resist the transformation would be like a form of self-sabotage, and to stay at the job would have been a form of self-sabotage, which that job was really a valuable lesson to me as well, because I'm working to bring in sustainable income from my business and eventually no longer need these part-time jobs and make money for myself through myself. And I realized that like they say that people outside of us always reflect something inside of us. And so I realized that my boss's harsh treatment of me and holding me to such high standards and nitpicking me was a reflection of my own harsh treatment of myself and my own nitpicking and high standards that I have always held for myself. Which then when I reflected back on my job history, I'd always had managers that like favored the slackers and like would like treat me horrible and hold me to high standards when I was like one of the really hardworking employees. And so then I realized through this most recent past employer, looking back in time, that like all of these employers were reflecting my own harshness to myself, because in school I would always work so hard to get the highest grades and to like be recognized by the teacher and to be recognized by my family, and like I was my own worst critic for sure. And I did hold myself to really unfair high standards that I would never hold anybody else to. It was just myself and my perfectionism schema. So I realized with how I was treated that I need to tone it down on my own perfectionism and allow myself to be human and allow myself the room to trial and error as I work on my business, and give myself the compassion that I need from myself. And then eventually that'll reflect externally with my interactions with like other people. And so yeah, that was a really valuable lesson that came up, and I think it came up because of the essences and the resonance repatterning, which I mean it says supports limiting belief work, and I mean perfectionism is a huge limitation. Like that perfectionism hinders people so much. And then going into limiting belief work, it's interesting because now I'm going back to the halfway house that I worked at for 2 years, which when I first worked there, it was like a halfway point for me because I was leaving the food industry and about to go into hip surgery in a new city, in a relationship that was not supporting me and not supported by my family. It was a very halfway point in life, and there was a lot of self-limiting, self-sabotaging behavior that came up for me at that time, which, looking back, like I send love and compassion to who I was, because I was very hateful to myself, and I was very in victim consciousness and woe is me, and I feel for myself back then, in a way that I failed to feel for myself back then when I was in that position. And the halfway house held space for me for those 2 years that I was going through hip surgeries and working through all the catalytic stuff that came up for me, because at that time I was in a relationship on again, off again with the person that I believe to be my twin flame and my biggest mirror to myself, that brought on very intense self-work. And now I'm going back to the halfway house, and it's interesting because now it's like I'm in this halfway stage of like starting a business and growing a business and learning all this trial and error. Like I just did my taxes for the first time this year since I became a sole proprietor about a year ago, and it was a lot of learning, and I recently upped my prices to include state taxes because I realized that I was shorting myself quite a bit. And I've been doing the resonance repatterning program to help me get past self-limiting beliefs as a business owner, and to help me heal my relationship with money and being receptive to what the universe has to offer me. And so yeah, it's just interesting that the halfway house is coming back up to support me as I'm in another change and transition of like a halfway point, which, I mean, to me, looking back, like my hips, like, I mean, they're doing amazing. Like I can like get up and down from the ground with ease. I don't have pain when I sit. I no longer have to sit with ice packs. I can travel again. I like can have sexual relations with Chris without pain. I can get in and out of the tub without pain. I don't take ibuprofen for my hips anymore. Like a lot of that stuff is just completely gone. Like I'm still kind of cautious with certain like yoga positions or certain movements, but overall, like all of that's in the past, and like almost like a vague memory. Like I never thought that would happen, but that is where I'm at. And so I realize with the halfway house now, like with the business work, the business when I look back one day will just be like a vague memory of like hard work that eventually flourished and blossomed the way my body is starting to flourish and blossom. So that's exciting. Which, I mean, when I was first at the halfway house, I would have been very pessimistic and not talked about any of this in this way. So you can already see the flower essence is working because I'm feeling very optimistic about this. And then another one that has came up, especially, and I found it so interesting, and I did a blog on it, and I'll go ahead and leave a link to the blog in the description box also. But I started doing past life healing, and it's so fascinating because with the past life healing, like we've been going back to my most recent life, which was in Chicago in 1930, and my twin flame and I were in that life together, and it was a very traumatic life, very, very traumatic life, and it was a short life. I think I died probably around the age I am now. Right now I'm 32, and I think this woman died when she was about 35, 36, maybe 37. I don't think 37 though. And yeah, it's interesting because there's the doorbell. It's interesting because the trauma that occurred with her. Actually, hold on. I think that's a friend.
Recording in progress.
Sorry about that interruption. I thought it was my friend coming over to drop something off, but it was Uber Eats for the neighbor. Anyways, going into the past life healing, yeah, a lot of what happened to her, I don't know her name, has definitely carried over into this life and created some very limiting beliefs and things to work through, and shining light on that past life has really freed up my heart and my mind and brought a lot of awareness to the surface, which awareness is so helpful and healing. And yeah, like one of the big ones for me was realizing like the reason I've had, not the entire reason I've had resistance to getting married, but I have had some resistance to it, and I know some of it definitely has to do with this life, like my family dynamics and all that stuff. Like, it's not so much been resistance, it's more so been pain from the wound of family abandonment that happens to be my Chiron. But I realized in the past life, what happened was the girl ended up getting kidnapped and taken away from the person that she loved so much. She loved him so much, and she didn't really have much of a family in that life either, which isn't surprising to me because when we have Chiron wounds, they're wounds we've had for a really long time, so there will be certain themes that repeat in past lives, and I feel like that's almost a way to kind of gauge your past life and how old it is if you don't see the Chiron there, then it must be a fairly old life, because it was before that Chiron that you currently have was present. Anyways, her family wasn't really there for her. I didn't get a feel of the family at all when I was in that life, and she loved this man so much, and it was really, really shocking to her when she got taken. She couldn't believe it happened to her. She had no idea what was going on at first. It took her time to figure out what was going on. Eventually, she found out that the man that she was married to was involved in some type of like mafia gang type in Chicago, and because of who she was married to, that made her a target. And yeah, there's a lot that goes into this life. I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I did a blog on it, but anyways, it's interesting because come to find out the husband, he is the twin, and we both have really deep commitment issues. And it's interesting because in this life, like, I realized some of his commitment issues definitely were from like what happened with his parents. Like, his mom cheated on his dad, and it caused all kinds of dysfunction for his inner child, and it made sense to me that he would have commitment issues. And then for me, I was raised by a divorced grandparent, and I watched my bio mom go through 2 divorces with the same person that used to beat her, and so it's like I've kind of had an aversion to marriage as well. However, going into the past life, now that I know what happened, like, to go back in time and feel the immense heartache and grief and pain and loss that this woman felt when she got taken from the person that she loved so deeply has been really heavy and really hard to work through, but it's been like such a blessing to be able to access and work through. And it now makes sense to me because some of my marriage resistance, because it's like they say samskaras, which are past life energy imprints, carry over into this life if we haven't worked through them, which I know I didn't work through that pain of that life until now. They carry through, and so the samskara of being ripped away from the person that you love so much and then not being able to work through it would carry over. And here I am, like, about to get married, and there's resistance, and it's like, oh, it's because past life energy is like, oh my god, marriage is terrifying, like I'm gonna get ripped away from this person and never see them again. And like in this life it makes no sense, but now that I'm aware of this past life energy, I'm like, whoa. And then like with the twin, it makes a lot of sense too, because I mean the love of his life got like taken from him, and he didn't know that for a long time. It took him several years to figure out what happened to her. So at first he initially thought that she like up and left him and abandoned him, and he was filled with a lot of anger and resentment and feelings of abandonment and grief, until he figured out what happened, and then he felt a lot of guilt. And so it's interesting because then in this life it's like I see him still carrying on the pattern because he won't really settle with any woman. He avoids them, and I believe it's because his samskara is coming through, and he's scared that he'll be abandoned and like lose the person he loves. And so it's like a safety mechanism. So it's really interesting because knowing all of this and working through all of this and taking these flower essences has really just been so freeing. Like even like the terminology that I use in my self-talk has changed and become more positive. Had a lot of resistance to calling Chris my fiance, and now it rolls way more naturally off of my tongue, and like I just notice it. It feels better. I can feel it in my heart. There's not like this like gut clench in my stomach when I say it. And like even saying the word husband feels way better than it once felt. So I mean, I know a lot of this is coming from like past life healing and the flower essences combined. And then I've also been doing microdoses for the past life healing sessions to really help me rewire those neural pathways and dig deep into that life and work through the stuff, so that way I can live my best life in this life. So yeah, I told you it was going to be all over the board. So all that's been going on as I've been taking these flower essences. And I've noticed that through integrating the energy work that I'm receiving through past life healing and resonance repatterning and integrating it and working with the flower essences, I've noticed that my daily practices have become a lot more structured and a lot more easier to do on a day-to-day basis. Like I find it easier to do. I'm more joyful about doing them. They don't feel like chores. They used to feel like chores to me. I've noticed there's a lot more passion coming back into my life about things that I've kind of had on the back burner. I've had way more writing spurts, and I started working on creating a journal that I want to publish, that is a weekly mind-body connection journal to help people heal their connection with their body and their mind. And I've started having more like poetic spurts and stuff like that, and I know it's because I've been doing this like really intensive deep healing, and my channel is clearing out, and it's pretty awesome. And I can't say all of that is from the flower essences, but I can say the flower essences are definitely supporting so much more under the surface than what I'm aware of, because flower essences work with your mental body, emotional body, physical body, and spiritual body, and they help align stuff and subtly work through stuff or like dissolve dense energies, which I mean that in and of itself gives you a lot more wiggle room to breathe and work through stuff. Yeah, the resistance to the marriage has lessened. And then like I've noticed taking these essences that trusting in the unknown, like trusting in the unknown has been a really big theme for me since Venus retrograde started about 3 months ago, which remember I started taking these about 2 months ago. So I feel like the essences are helping me really trust in the unknown as I navigate the waters of healing my relationship with money and scarcity consciousness and lack programming and uprooting it, and leaning into surrender and trust that I will be taken care of and that everything's working for my highest good. In fact, I heard a really nice affirmation today that I really like that I'm probably going to start doing with my mala beads. It was, I am receptive to, or what is it? I am open to receiving support from the universe so that I can focus on my dharma. And I was like, oh, that's such a beautiful affirmation. So I think I'll start including that when I do my mala devotionals. And yeah, it's like, it's not comfortable trusting the unknown still for me, but it's gotten a lot less scary. And it's like, the more I trust in the unknown, the easier it becomes. And I mean, these last 3 months have been nonstop trusting in the unknown. So it's like, it's becoming smoother sailing. Like, I know things are working out. And yeah, so that is what I've got with these flower essences, which this one is made of Orinia, Blackcurrant, Double Delight Rose, Echinacea, Hyssop, Fireweed, and Morning Glory. So each of these flowers does its own thing, but when made intentionally into a blend, they can help and run really deep. So I can't say which flower specifically has been helping me, but I can definitely say this blend has been phenomenal. I really love the banana take action blend because anytime I take banana, like, I get so much done with my business and stuff like that. And it's like, it's done so joyfully. And like, I never think twice about doing stuff for my business because I really enjoy what I do. And I mean, sometimes I might be a little lethargic, and that's where that essence comes in handy because it's just like, it helps me get past the lethargic and just start working on things. And then before I know it, several hours have gone by, and maybe it doesn't seem like a lot of stuff was done to like the untrained eye, but like, I know what I'm doing and I know the time I'm putting into stuff, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I got on flower essences. I hope you find this video helpful, and I'll leave links to the past life healing blog, and I was gonna leave a link to something else. What was it? Oh, the video going backwards to move forwards, which, yeah, I feel like I'm going backwards to see all the self-limiting beliefs that I once had and to see my growth as I move forward, which is pretty cool. Anyways, take care, aho, and namaste.